All right, so it was a Sunday night in the summer of 2000, and I was living in Northampton, and this guy Richard Buckner had played the Iron Horse the night before, and I was a big fan of his, and I'd went and seen him on Saturday night. So I knew he was still in town, and there was an open mic at the Bay State on Sunday nights at that time, like this Americana open mic. And I just had a feeling he was gonna be at the Bay State for some reason, but no one was there because the Figments were playing at Hugo's that night, so everyone was at the Figments show. So I popped into the Bay State, and Buckner was there, and Bruce Tull was bartending, and there was like 3 other people there, and I think Al Johnson was hosting the open mic. So I just like sat down at the bar, like trying to be all casual, and Bruce introduced me to Buckner, and we start chatting, and I was like, oh, is it your show last night? It was really good. He's like, yeah. He's like, that venue's not the best. And I was like, it's not the best. And he was like, I'd really like to just play like a dive bar or something. And I was like, oh, you can play here. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah. And the open mic was in the front. They closed the back on Sundays, but I was like, oh yeah, like there's bands in the back. And I like showed him where the band set up, and he was like, cool. So we were chatting for a while, and I was like, so, it's open mic. Like, are you gonna like play some songs? And he's like, I'm only gonna play if you play. And I was like, that's funny, but I've never played in front of anybody, so I'm not gonna do that. So I just changed the subject, and we chat for a little bit longer, and then I was like, no, really, like you should play a song. And he was like, I'm really only gonna play if you play, and I'm only gonna play after you so that I know that you're gonna play. And I was like, fine, there's nobody here. I'll sign us up. So I did. Some more people play, and then the person who was right before me on the list was playing, and suddenly the world showed up. Like the Figments show had gotten out, and everybody came to the Bay State, and I was like, great. So everyone was there, and I was super nervous, but I just, I had to get out of my own way. I was like, I gotta do this. It's for the greater good. And Bruce would set up his pedal steel, and if anyone wanted him to play along, he would just come out from behind the bar and play pedal steel. So I was like, Bruce, I need you to come play Return of the Grievous Angel with me. And he was like, okay. So he came over, and we start playing, and it's like, oh, I'm pretty good. And I get through the first verse, and then just blank. Just completely can't remember the next word, and I'm just like, Bruce, what's the next line? And he was like, we flew straight over. I was like, right, okay, got it. So we like played the next thing, and that happened after every single verse and chorus through the whole song. It's a long song. And every single time I would stop, and I'd be like, oh, and he'd like prompt me, and like get through it, and sit down, and Buckner gets up, and I think he did a Townes Van Zandt cover, and I was like, that was so awesome. I'm like, great, whatever. So cut to like a couple months later, I'm talking to Don Rook, the booking agent, and I was like, hey Don, my birthday is on September 21st. Who's playing the Bay State that night? And he was like, oh, Richard Buckner's actually playing. I was like, get out of town, that's awesome. I can't believe he's playing. And he's like, yeah, and he asked that you open for him. And I was like, Don, it's not funny. He was like, I'm completely serious. Like, his booking agent specifically requested that you open this show for him. And he didn't even know it was my birthday. That was just serendipity. So that was my first show, opening for Richard Buckner at the Bay State on my 24th birthday. Whoa. It was pretty awesome.